I'm Terri Malik.
And I'm Jared Treadway, and we're inviting you to co-create with us.
From our home base in North Central Texas.
We're hosting conversations that nourish our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual intelligence.
We are about being spiritually physical.
And physically spiritual.
We are about inspiration.
And aspiration.
We are about involution.
And evolution. We're about self-exploration
and self-excavation. We are about each of us coming to know ourselves in our fullness and wholeness,
so that together we serve the expansion of human consciousness
with the gifts of our specific genius.
Welcome to 33 North, 96 West.
Hello, Jared. I am so excited to be coming to everybody from North Texas again, back in 33 North, 96 West.
I'm excited too. I'm so glad you're home.
Thank you. It's been interesting, as always, to integrate back in, but it's actually going very well. And I'm just grateful to be here and recording today. So something that I have discussed with Jared a little bit that has been going on with me energetically is try to think of how I want to introduce it. I'm actually going to just read something that came through me recently when talking to Jared. And then we're going to go further into that and expand. I think it's going to be a really exciting topic today, as always. Okay, so it is in choosing to adopt another's perspective that creates misalignment, not necessarily the perspective itself, which that's a whole nother avenue, is looking at a particular perspective. So let me expand upon that and explain where that's coming from. And I'll start by saying when people share wisdom, if you will, and we're just going to talk today, we're going to actually speak to, say, over the internet. So whether it's through a writing they've done, a meme, or whether it's even in person, in a class setting, in a group setting, or just conversation. When someone is sharing their perspective and what in that moment is truth for them, they really are sharing where they are in their journey, what they've come to bring into their conscious awareness. So it may or may not match in any way, shape, or form yours. It may have aspects that are similar. It may be completely contrasting. It can be all over the place as far as, perspectives are infinite within humanity and our society. So what I wanted to start the conversation with is us talking about stepping back from it being about a particular perspective. And I want to talk more about it. It's in, as we do pretty much in all of our conversations, we are always bringing it back to within, the involution, and we're applying that to the evolution and inward and outward, and how it's outpictured, how we live it, how it's expressed. So I really did want to talk about how in these times of going through these experiences, we step back and go within to find our answers. And then I'm going to add one other thing before we go into conversation, is basically where this comes from in my field is seeing out there, tying back to the internet, seeing on social media, seeing in email newsletters, just, various ways that it's brought into my field, even in-person conversations with other people that do similar work to what I do. When I see these things that actually clearly state their perspective as the perspective, as the answer, as the way, I always have that little, I just kind of have this, this energy that runs through me of it's an immediate yes or no. Now, that is not me saying they are wrong. That is not me judging their perspective and what their journey has brought them to in their conscious awareness and what is truth for them. It's just my body's way and my energetic field's way of giving me my own yes and my own no. And so I'd really like to open up conversation around that.
Wow. Okay. So I knew from our pre-conversation that there was a lot, but part of what you've just expressed opens things up even more for me. So the first thing that I would like to suggest in response to that is, or discuss, and this is kind of just a high level kind of an idea to keep in mind as we progress in this contemplation. So is there anybody who is alive having a physical human life experience today that is unworthy of having their own perspective?
Absolutely not.
No.
Yeah.
And you expressed to this, you suggested that from your perspective, you don't witness or see others' expression of a perspective that actually you can identify isn't true for you, but you don't judge them for having that perspective.
I appreciate you saying it that way, because I feel like I possibly interrupted your train of thought. I was receiving something strongly around that based off previous conversations we've had. That is a big shift too, and we'll talk more about that, but from thinking, well, that's wrong, that doesn't feel good, I don't like that, etc. Whatever is moving through our field of us receiving our no, really, when we come to know, that is our own intuition moving through us, and it's our responsibility to listen to it. It's not our responsibility to judge it. So I wanted to add that.
So along with each individual having the right to be, they have the right to be here, they have the right to their perspective and their point of view, and they have the right for that to evolve. They have the right to be aware of it. But tied together with that is this innate intuitive capacity. Like there's no one who isn't. It's actually an impossibility that you are disconnected from or separated from the higher self that manifested you. So that aspect of you is always with you unless you deny it.
Yes.
It's not going anywhere. So it's always speaking to you and through you. And your intuition is only for you. It's your connection. So sometimes we have the experience of wanting to be externally validated or wanting others to agree with us in order to, it's like we get a boost in our energy system when we have people who are validating the expression of our intuition. They say, yes, I agree. We've used that word bandwagon. We've used the word herd mentality. We've used the word mainstream. So when you express like, I've just had this intuition about this is the new way, or this is the thing, or come on, follow me. And then you get some feedback from that. Like there's a level of our consciousness that at which that feels good. Right?
Yes.
It feels good for me to get this boost of everybody coming along for me but this is tricky here because it can become profoundly arrogant to place your intuition onto other people. Like, definitely we can say, if our heart is pure and our attractor field is clean and our mind is open, our intuition can be of service to others. but ultimately yours is for you. And so don't give that away. Okay. Like, I think there's a lot more we can cover, but I just wanted to start with that. And I can feel that you have some response to that.
I'm laughing because of something that's moving through me personally. You talked about I believe you used the word, I'm not sure if you did or not, but I was hearing the energy of the paradox. And I'm actually going to just get real and speak to what you just said in a way that we had not even discussed previous to this recording. Because it's screaming in my ear.
Must be said.
What do you call it?
Your third ear.
My third ear. Okay, so I've had 2 conversations this morning actually about this. A service that I offer, and I am not here to promote my services, so I want to make it clear, but it's very important for me to use examples as they move through. A service that I offer that has taken me through ebbs and flows of being able to communicate this to others because of the energy in society that it's hubris, that it's egotistical, that it's pompous. And I want to tie it to what you said, because the very energy that created this topic in my field is the same energy which could be perceived that I'm delivering. I think it's important for us to address that.
Okay. Yeah.
And go deeper. So I'm just going to state it and not backpedal and go through all the things I've had to move through to be able to state this. And I'm continuing to move through. But I am an intuitive life coach. It's one of the things that I do. It's one of the things that people come to me about pretty much daily looking for insight. So let me explain what that means. It's 2-part. And the second part is the part that people might say, wow, that feels really inflated ego. But I'm not at all an ego, which is why it's been hard for me to state it. Your soul, individual souls, if asked a question from an individual, I'm able to hear, see, feel, smell, pretty much touch the answer that their higher self and their I am presence are saying.
Mm-hmm.
It goes beyond that. I have been shown in many ways that I am actually transmitting from the frequencies of source. Okay, now I'm not just speaking about just Terri Malik. There are many people who do this. I'm not by any means proclaiming to be the only one by any means, nor am I proclaiming that you can't do this as well. So I want to make that clear. To me, that's a big difference of someone saying, this is the way. I'm the only one that knows the way. I'm the only way you can get to the way. I am the one. I am your person. I am your mentor. I am your teacher. I'm your influencer, whatever. Okay, so go ahead, Jared, and let me take a pause because that just came through really strongly to clarify.
Thank you. So I'll add 2 points and then volley the mic back to you. So the first thing I'd like to express is I can feel that same energetic hit, when those ideas are expressed. Like, I am the only one. Like, I draw my breath gets kind of, and anytime when I hear the idea that I know your path better than you do, and I'm going to show it to you. Now, this is really a paradigm of the past age, that there were external authority figures, and in some ways it's kind of beautiful. Like, the tribe looking after itself and sort of I want to say suppressing, trying to suppress inferior forces to keep everybody moving toward righteousness. And I mean, that was kind of a part of the way the world evolved, but we've evolved into a new era. And in this new era, and I'm not going to say, I mean, you can maybe speak to this more, but this has probably always been true. But in this new era, individuals are beginning to awaken to what we've spoken to earlier, which is that you have this connection within you that is through which you may discern your path, what's true for you. So, and that brings me into the next point I wanted to make or ask you to clarify. So, and I can partly be confident in asking this based on what you just said, because I have experienced your teachings and I've worked with you in an intimate way. So, do you discourage, or how do I say it? Do you encourage your students to take what you express at face value without processing it through their mechanisms?
No.
Do you have the capacity to do that?
I don't.
No.
I love the way you asked that. I actually don't have the capacity to be a proclaimed, I use the word guru. I'm trying to think if there's another way to say it, but I don't have that capacity. It's not within my blueprint.
Would we both be I don't know if I want to say it that way. I was starting to say, would we both be terribly disappointed if people automatically took every word we expressed on our podcast or any other conversation as the truth, as face value, without processing it through the systems that you have? I'm just going to answer the question. Do not believe a single word you hear either of us say here. Belief is a thought you keep thinking. So do not believe anything that we express without processing it through the system that you have. If you process it through the system that you have, you may realize that, in fact, when you are in alignment with the ideas that we are expressing, and we may be part of a fractal together. We may be part of a larger soul family or soul group that have all come in, that are all in alignment with ideas that we can share. But please don't make it an automatic thing. Like, this is your journey. You have the mechanisms within you to guide you in a very specific way. And that's a big part of our message.
Absolutely. And what we discussed in our pre-production meeting is that we want to talk about. We want to talk about it in a way that grounds it a little more, makes it about everyday real life and how that might look. Tying back to what you and I both do, I was speaking specifically earlier to something that was moving through me about work I do and offer. But you and I both offer service are in service in a way that assists others in hearing, in developing their own intuitive abilities and moving through that process, creating that process for oneself. I don't even want to say creating. You are creating it, but what you're doing is you're allowing what is authentically your blueprint and your essence to move through you. And then you are developing a process that you trust. That's really what we're talking about. And can I say, I'm going to give you this beautiful box all tied up in a beautiful bow that Terry Malick developed. And can I say, here's a gift. I would like you to open it and do steps A through Z, and you can have the life I have, so to speak. That what what we're saying is, there's this box that I am giving you, and it's not even a box. Once you open that bow and it opens up, it's like this pop-up book, and all that's in it is endless, infinite possibilities. I mean, if you were to open that box, you would look in there and say, wow, there's nothing in here. There's nothing in here, because what we're giving you is the invitation to consider what we're talking about in any conversation or comments that we make or anything, but we are giving you an invitation of what to consider in your own path, in your own journey of how do you find your own phrases that are out there, your own true north, your own authentic self, your own blueprint, etc. And because we have experiences and training and languages that we have resonated with strongly, we do have various ways of perhaps inspiring others that they could look at, but it is not the one size fits all by any means.
Would you want a one size fits all?
I personally would not.
No.
That would not fit me.
No. And to anyone who seeks, and I have experienced this. I have gone out. I mean, Terri is an example. Sometimes she and I have the benefit of a personal call with one another where we express some things we've been experiencing the last few weeks, and we play off of each other and bounce around ideas. And sometimes she'll express the most profound thing for me to consider. And I take it in, and I guess I'm speaking a little bit to what my personal process and system is, but like I can just feel, and for me, and you're a generator and I'm a manifesting generator in the human design system, and there's this idea that you have this sacral response, and it's sort of an initial, this is like a gut feeling. And sometimes you can hear me just going, and then sometimes I'm like, and not in response to anything you've said to me, but like I'm on site at an architecture project somewhere, and a subcontractor or a colleague or even sometimes the client expresses an idea, and I have this, like, no, that's not, because in some ways, like I'm the steward of the realization of this thing. It's almost like a mother birthing a baby and bringing it into form. Like there's a certain amount of like responsibility that I celebrate. I'm like, that's inconsistent with the spirit of this thing that we're birthing. So you have this gut response. And so Terri will express something, and I feel that, yeah. And then it starts there for me in my gut. And then it goes to my mind, and my mind starts to do this web of like interconnecting with all kinds of other things that I've ever experienced or learned. And it's almost like my whole mental structure starts remaking itself in a flash because of this input I've just received about this thing. And I'm re-articulating all these memories, and all this stuff is happening. And then I'm off in a new direction. So even when a very trusted friend and guide, I guess I want to make this succinct, a very trusted friend and guide and teacher has expressed a profound idea to me, it's not accepted as face value. And I'm certainly never going to be comfortable, at least in my experience, for me, seeking a bandwagon to jump on so that I relieve myself of my personal responsibility to find my way through this experience. And sometimes you may get something in from outside you, and you chew on it for a while and you really think, well, maybe that is true, but still, like in some cases, I'm petulant and stubborn and don't do it. I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not there yet, or I'm still going to push against this. Like I can see the resistance happening when it happens, but there's always a personal, specific, internal process of digestion.
So we don't have to stay on this part of this very long, but let's ask questions. What might cause someone not to do that? What might cause someone or lead somebody to not follow that gut feeling and their process, or even develop their process?
Mm-hmm.
What might be something that would get in the way of humanity doing that? I think it's important for us to bring a few examples, if you will, up in that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, a very clear an initial response that I have to that is that most of us have been culturally conditioned to believe that the external authority figures are the ones that we have to acquiesce to, and that we as individuals, many of us actually, as a result of this conditioning process, and some of the systems that we have this roadblock of this feeling of unworthiness to consider anything other than what's been offered. And I know that very well personally, and I know what it took to. I'm reminded of this Florence and the Machine song. It's hard to dance with the devil on your back, so shake it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once I started to become aware that I had that devil on my back, that there was another way, perhaps. I know what it's taken to get me from there to here. And of course, I'm on a journey. It's not done. But I think that would be the very first response I have, is that the culture suggests that in order to keep it safe, we keep people looking outside themselves for validation, approval, and authority, and keep them in fear, that so that you don't act on or pursue anything kind of outside the realm of being a normal, productive citizen with mainstream ideas. That'd be the first.
And that one's huge.
Yeah.
Even in the beginning of our this episode, you talked about that worthiness, and that is so ingrained in our actual cellular memory, in our DNA. It's so ingrained in us. So what we are doing by following our intuition, that gut feeling, and creating our own process, we are unprogramming, deprogramming that. We are undoing the programming, however you want to say that, but you're basically rewinding, unlearning. That's another phrase people use a lot. We're unlearning the indoctrination that we've been in, but it goes deeper than just, you already said it. It goes deeper than me using the word indoctrination or programming or conditioning, because it's in our actual cellular memory and in our DNA strands. It has actually caused other strands of DNA to become dormant. And that's a big part of what we're doing. The awakening is awakening these inactive DNA strands that have this wisdom.
Mm.
That's really if you want to look at the physics of it, that's a lot of what we're doing.
Yeah. A brief elaboration on that. So your physical body relates to the physical plane. And we spoke a little bit to this in the episode on collective memory, but this is a way to ground it again in response to what you just said. So the cells of your physical body used to be other things. And the cells used to belong to not probably now at my age. I don't know if I have any of my mom's cells directly left or if they've all transformed, but the memory is carried. So the memory of your ancestors, the memory of all of the suppression and the pain and this is race memory. It's there because your physical body is made of the cells that recorded that. It's like that's the evolution. So unless you do something to clear that, and you do it with your consciousness, it's going to be there.
Yeah.
But then people will say, this to a lot of people, like, do I have the power to use my consciousness to transcend race memory? Yes, you do. And is that going to affect the vibrancy of my physical apparatus? Yes. Not just the physical body, but the subtle bodies are affected by that. Yes, you have the right and you have the ability to do that with your consciousness.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. It's if this is not a concept you've ever really thought about or looked into, it's mind blowing. It can really blow the mind because it can blow the mind, but I had somebody use this word the other day. It's so visceral when you experience it. I have chills it becomes so visceral. You can't deny it. You can't say, wow, there's nothing to this because you feel it viscerally.
Yeah. And is it always easy and smooth?
Oh goodness, no.
No. So why would you do this? The answer is so simple and elegant. Because you know.
Let's give an example. If you have a physical injury, you get to make the choice. Am I going to allow this to heal? Let's just say it's a cut and you had surgery and you've now got a scar on your skin, but it goes deeper. It goes into every layer of tissue. It goes into the fascia, the muscle. I mean, the nerves, the cells. It's many layers, right? If you don't make the choice to have that heal, because your body knows exactly what to do to heal that. Mm-hmm. Your mind can stop it, but your mind can also empower it. So your body knows how to do that. And it's the same thing. It's allowing your body, your very cells, to heal this. I'll just use the word trauma because we can all relate to that. These imprints and memory that are within you, you can make that choice for that to heal.
Yeah.
If you don't take the steps to take care of that incision, it could get infected. It could, et cetera, et cetera. And this is why I'm tying it to that. Is that comfortable? No. Does it bring about pain? Is it pain when you have to go to physical therapy and use that again? It does not come without pain. We, as a defense, this is big. As a defense mechanism to fear, we have decided in our life that we should always have comfort and convenience. I've talked about this in previous episodes. So if it's not comfortable, it's real easy to stop. It's real easy to walk away. But are you ever going to have full range of motion within that part of your body that's been severed? It knows, it has the memory. It knows how to heal itself. It's the same thing. It's not going to come without pain. It's not going to come without probably blood, sweat, and tears. It's not going to come without commitment. But in the end, it's almost like, hey, that never happened. I'm fully vibrant, and it's fantastic what you can do.
Is it possible to use your mind to understand that much of our pain is an indicator of growth and healing?
Yeah.
Because if you have a cut through several layers of fascia and it's hurting, there's a mechanism that's happening there that's your body is going to take care of it as you express. So if you can say to yourself, pain is a sign that I'm growing and healing, and say that over and over again, then you're developing a new belief, aren't you? Now, I'm not talking about like,
Absolutely.
yeah, all pain. Like, if there's an acute moment of crisis, like there's a different story. But in many ways, like as you were saying, we're kind of allergic to pain these days, and we want comfort.
Allergic, yes.
And so,
yes.
let's take responsibility for our mental patterns around this subject. But also, I think it would be fun I'm feeling a little playful today. So I think it would be fun to introduce this idea that I've been contemplating lately, which is, does your system, does your apparatus, does your body have a higher etheric level template or counterpart? So Terri and I were having so much fun with this conversation that we went for almost 2 hours. So for your benefit, we have taken the liberty of dividing this episode up into 2 parts for you so that you can listen episodically if you'd like. So this represents the conclusion of part 1, and then we will publish part 2, and we're publishing them both together. So if you'd like to continue listening, you can just click on through to the next episode. As always, thank you for being a part of this, and I'll see you on the other side.